Today on the Topping Show, Supreme Court rules that Biden cannot just throw money away and forgive student loans with taxpayer dollars. So the Supreme Court preserves religious liberties. The AK guy goes up against the ATF. The Barbie movie has the corporate office versus the actors. Theo and Roseanne Barr versus cancel culture. Nike changing pricing and strategy. Apple hits the $3 trillion mark. Goldman Sachs wants out of the Apple partnership. Sriracha sauce is having a little bit of a shortage. Buc-ee's opens yet another one of the largest stores again. Bud Light goes back on Twitter and still gets ratioed again. And California is now approved to sell lab-grown meat. All that and much more on The Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is sponsored by Topping Technologies. And we have a fun little advertisement to celebrate the holiday today.
Hi there, I'm Topping, and I'm the founder of Topping Technologies. We're an IT value-added reseller and services company, and we're American. That's why we're giving away a .50 caliber musket with every July purchase. See details in the post. To celebrate the most important document and the most important event in history, the Declaration of Independence and the 4th of July. On July 4th, 1776, the original 13 colonies wrote the Declaration of Independence told Great Britain the most important fact in history. We are free, and we will not be ruled by Great Britain. Here is my favorite excerpt of the Declaration of Independence. Quote, "We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal." Unquote. Let Topping Technologies be the catalyst to revolutionizing your IT needs.
Now, other interesting culture news, you have Theo and Roseanne Barr versus the cancel culture. Now, Theo is probably one of those famous stand-up comedians, as well as someone who grows a mullet, two very unique things. And he has this podcast called This Past Weekend, in which he has a bunch of interesting people on the show, has a diverse number of interviewees from comedians to rock stars to philosophers, and he has a pretty interesting show. Now, Roseanne was recently canceled a couple years ago. She was high and made a joke about race. It was her race too, but she made a joke about that race. So of course, the show Roseanne, the reboot, had to cancel her immediately. And now we have someone by the name of Brian Kranzenstein who's tweeting to try to cancel her. Now, a little background on this individual. I can't think of a nice way of saying. Yeah, I can't think of a nice thing to say about him. Now, this is an individual who publicly tweeted, quote, 1. Seeing a man naked on a bike isn't going to have much of an impact on a kid. They have likely seen their fathers or brothers naked before. Weird. He also goes on to say that seeing naked men on the internet might be a little bit worse, but there's far worse things on the internet for kids. So that's a little background on the type of person who wants to cancel someone else, which again, as soon as I hear that someone wants to cancel someone else or is calling for someone to be canceled, I'm immediately suspicious, because those who want censorship are usually the ones who are most morally vacuous and have the worst ideas, because the ideas can't stand a simple debate between someone who has opposing viewpoints. My 3 cents. It used to be 2 cents, but this 40-year hyperinflation is killing us. Now, he called on her to be canceled because she made a joke about the Jewish community in World War II. And it should be noted, she is Jewish. And she had a little monologue talking about the truth that you could say versus the truth that you're allowed to say. And if you listen, I think you'll realize she is being sarcastic, and sure, she is a comedian, it's a bit. And Theo walks people through that in his response videos. But here's a little excerpt of her on the show.
When I ran for president in 2012, one of my platform things was I will outlaw bullshit. Yeah. Because, and I know that horrified people, because what will they do now?
Right.
They're addicted to it.
That'd be 85 to 95% of YouTube just gone. And most major mainstream media, left and right.
Rather have that than food or a happy family. They're so addicted to their fucking bullshit.
It's true, huh?
But, comics, I think we're the less free speech art form. And as long as we're performing, things ain't as bad as they could be. I think that's true.
As long as we're performing, things aren't as bad as they could be.
Yeah.
And that's always been the case throughout time, like with jesters or with
Yeah.
people.
It is true. It seems to be the final frontier. Lord knows you can't make a joke in the office these days. You'll be, well, unless it's against religious people. For some reason, that's a socially, culturally acceptable thing to make fun of Catholics, Christians. They're always the butt of the joke, which is kind of pathetic. I mean, think of something more creative.
That was trying to speak up and share. There's always been a ceiling on speech, hasn't there, in a way?
Of course, nobody wants to hear the real truth. They're horrified of it. They'd rather go with bullshit. It's easier.
Kind of like food and dieting. Most people don't want to go to the gym and get up at 4:30 in the morning and work out for a couple hours to make sure they're in tip-top shape and make sure their mind and body are running at the highest efficiency possible. They want to eat McDonald's. Not that there's anything wrong with. Well, no, I was about to say not that there's anything wrong with McDonald's. Well, debatable.
And
Like for the real truth that, and I'm glad that they did set up all these guidelines so that we only are allowed to speak the truth. And the truth is that Biden got 81 million votes by winning 36 counties.
A statistical anomaly that has never happened before, but that has happened.
And that is just incredible. It really, really is. And that of these 81 million.
It's interesting to also know that YouTube actually just now changed their policy so you can actually question elections again. For most of my life, all the way up to 2000, and when Trump got elected, that's all they talked about was Russia, Russia, Russia. Turned out to be all BS. They all said the election was corrupt, and it was just ridiculous. Then in 2020, you were not allowed to, if you even hinted that something might be askew, whether it's comedian Steven Crowder going to Michigan and driving to empty lots where there's nothing there, but there's a little card with the registration saying this person lives at that spot, and they voted. If you said that, you're immediately blacklisted from the site. Channels removed, complete lives destroyed, demonetized, because they asked questions. So in 2020, we were told you can never ask questions again. More people voted than in any time in history before. You cannot question that. Just shut up. Do not question things. But then, as a couple of weeks ago, Google and YouTube decided, yeah, you can do that. Many of y'all are wondering, why are they changing this policy? Are they prepping it for the 2024 election and they think maybe Trump might win and then they're going to revamp that marketing campaign? I don't know, but it is interesting timing.
Million supporters who gave him more votes than any president has ever gotten before. He came with a man.
Which is also weird. People talk about voter suppression. There are more votes than ever in U.S. history. Ever. And I don't know how racist this... It's ridiculous how racist some of these people are, where they think minorities can't get a driver's license. Guess what? I got one just fine.
From these 81 million voters. And, I'm just glad that they were very careful to make sure that nobody could detract from that proven truth. You know what I mean?
Like, what do you mean? Like that nobody...
That they mandated that was the truth and that nobody could say, well, what about no?
Oh, it was made a mandate.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. So the government made it a mandate?
Yeah, because, YouTube did, and so did all the social...
so you can't even speak on that in those platforms.
Facebook too?
No, you can't say,
that it wasn't.
You can't say that, like,
the
there
election
was
was rigged. Right.
That's all a lie. The election was not rigged. 36 counties can give you 81 million votes.
Right.
That's a fact.
Is it? Let's see. Yeah, one of the top comments on Twitter says Biden won 570 out of 2,500 counties, but the statistic that matters is 16.7% of all the counties in the country yielded 81 million votes, which is statistically impossible. This is according to MJD on the Twitter, which I need to look into that, but that is one of the top comments on this.
So it wasn't rigged?
Of course not.
Yeah.
36 counties have 81 million people in them.
Yeah.
See? That's the truth. And
Yeah.
don't you dare say anything against it or you'll be off YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. and all the other ones, because we have,
Up until 5 minutes ago, that was true. They completely just deplatformed you.
there's such a thing as the truth and facts, and we have to stick to it. And,
It's scary.
and that is,
It's like 1984, which is probably a dangerous game if you watch this show and you take a drink every time I mention that book. I don't recommend it because that's probably going to be deadly. Mildly entertaining, perhaps, but it's one of those things where 2 + 2 = 5. They torture a guy in the book until he just says it is 5, and that's sad that that's the society we live in now.
is the truth. And nobody died in the Holocaust either.
No.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
It should happen. 6 million Jews should die right now because they cause all the problems in the world, but it never happened. But it never happened.
Yeah.
Mandated.
Well, because you're.
So Theo Von, the interviewer, his little description of this clip is he said, "Here's a full clip of Roseanne Barr, obviously using sarcasm and satire. She is a mensch, mensch, which I think is a slang for Jewish culture, and one of the funniest people I ever met." And part of the joke is there was a time where you weren't allowed to talk about that, and there were some people who actually didn't believe it.
Part Jewish, right? Part of your family's Jewish?
I'm all Jewish.
You're all Jewish.
100%.
And a lot of Hollywood is Jewish, yeah? It's like a lot of Hollywood is a Jewish business, really. Well, they started Hollywood,
Yeah.
right? But so was it weird
Just
that...
like rap. Black people started rap.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't go over there and try to get in rap and go, all these black people, go on Saturday Night Live like Dave Chappelle. I'm just saying a lot of black people are in control of rap.
Right.
Hello? Well, you went there. You
Yeah.
try to get in show business. Of course it's Jewish. But, and people should be glad that it's Jewish too, because if Jews were not controlling Hollywood, all you'd have was fucking fishing shows.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
What? Okay. So, obviously trying to do a bit, some might say, in the comedic community, but yeah, it's one of those really, and you got that, what is that guy's name? So Bryan Cranston, he's the one that's fervently calling for her to be canceled and is trending on the Twitter. And I give Theo Von credit. I mean, he'll interview everyone. It's very diverse. He interviewed Robert Kennedy Jr., and that interview was also censored by, I know it's cliche to say, but big tech. It's interesting to see how many platforms are scared to allow him to speak. But given her long-term track record, and we'll see how long they're really canceled. But it's fascinating to see from a cultural perspective, more and more people seemingly want censorship, which is perhaps the biggest threat to democracy I could think of, is the silencing of different opinions and ideals. And hopefully that trend turns around and more people will realize the importance of the First Amendment. Thank you everyone for taking the time to do it today. I cannot thank you enough. I really appreciate it when you take the time to like, subscribe, and comment. Each one of those things greatly helps out the channel. Happy 4th of July, everyone. Also, don't forget to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.